The first race that I ever competed in was in the Baja 500, the inaugural first time Baja 500. And I competed in it in the American Motors Ramblers, believe it or not. Well, I got hooked on off-roading immediately, the very first race. I came home, I couldn't wait to get in the truck for the next one. Well, there was no next one because James Gardner and John Green sold the American Motors team, and left me without anything to drive. But I had remembered Bill Stropp bringing in a couple of beautiful Ford pickup trucks, painted the same color as that one. And I just looked at it and said, oh, that's the thing to do. That's the machine I want to drive. It's only two-wheel drive, doesn't have a lot of front wheel travel with with axles, with front differentials, and the things that can actually brake. I want to drive a Ford pickup. And I got in my pickup truck and drove to Long Beach. And I'm going to talk to Bill Stropp about fixing up a truck identical to the trucks that he had. And I walked into his place and looking around, and the first guy I saw was on a forklift, unloading a flatbed truck with a bunch of huge big boxes. I walked up to him, and he shut the thing off and said, "Hey, can I help you?" And I said, "Yes. My name is Walker Evans, and I'm looking for Bill Stropp." He said, "I'm Bill Stropp. What can I do for you?" I said, "Well, do you build off-road trucks for anybody but yourself?" And he, "Oh, certainly. Yes, we do." I said, "Well, I just drove in the American Motors off-road program and got third place. And I was wondering if you needed a driver or anything." "Oh, no," he said. "I got Mickey Thompson driving that truck. I got Ack Miller driving that one. I got Larry Miner driving this one. Rod Hall drives this Bronco over here. All my vehicles are covered." I said, "Well, but you'll build me a truck if I get you a truck to build." And he, "Oh, certainly, that's what we do." I said, "Well, I just found a great truck at a junkyard in Riverside. It doesn't have very much damage on it. We could fix it up and get started on that." He said, "Oh, wait a minute, time out, stop right there." He said, "No, I don't build any old trucks, nothing that's been wrecked or anything." He said, "If you want me to build you a truck, you have to have a brand new one." I said, "Oh, my land." I said, "Well, I didn't really think about it that way, and how much is that? And I don't know if I have that kind of budget." He said, "Oh, no, Folgers Ford, I buy all my pickups and Broncos and stuff from them. They give us a good buy. Come on up to the office." So he jumped off the forklift. We walked up there, and he called general sales manager at Folgers Ford, and for what you call a Sally Ram. Now that's a way to describe a vehicle that you're going to buy at a dealership that has literally nothing on it. The cheapest vehicle you can buy is called a Sally Ram. They didn't come with air conditioning, they didn't come with a heater, they didn't come with very many amenities. Cheapest you could get. So the cheapest one we could get was like $2,400. And I kind of had that kind of money. And so Stropp said, "Well, I'm going to send this gentleman right down, and you guys make a deal, and we'll get started on the truck once you get it here." I went down that day and I bought that truck, drove it home, drove it back down to Long Beach, drove it into Stropp, and I said, "Well, here's the truck. I want to make an off-road truck out of it." And he said, "Are you any good with wrenches and tools?" I said, "Well, yes, sir, I am." He said, "Well, there's a few things on this truck that's right over here that I'm not going to need. Here's a stall to back it in, and you can start taking some of these things off." I said, "Well, what do you want off of it?" He said, "We don't need the hood. We don't need those 5 tires and wheels, the spare included. We don't need the tire bracket underneath. We don't need the gas tank that's right behind the seat. We don't need that bench seat. And the list kept going on and on and on. And pretty soon I said, okay, and I started taking it apart. He came out and said, well, why don't you get that pickup truck over there of mine, back it in here, and put every bit of that stuff in that truck, because I sure don't need it, and I don't need it here. Well, I said, okay. Put everything in the truck. I went to Folger's Ford with it. I pulled in and went into the parts department. I got a hold of the head guy in the parts department, and I said, I got a few things out here in a pickup truck that you might be interested in that I'm gonna sell. So he and I walked out, and he looked in this truck, and he said, oh my land, where'd you get this? I said, I bought a brand new truck the other day, and these are a few things I don't need on it. What do you give me for everything in here? I'll give you $350 for everything you put in this truck, in the bed of this truck. I said, good, sold. I backed over there and we started unloading every bit of it. After all, that's 3 payments on that truck right there. And Strop's gonna start putting big tires, dual shocks, fiberglass hood, trick seats in the front of it. We're gonna make this into a real truck. And these are a few things I don't need. So I'm thinking ahead. After all, I'm still just a construction worker, but yet I've got to go racing. Well, to make a long story short, he got the truck all done, and I won 2 races in a row, and now I'm getting this hat was getting pretty good size. My head wouldn't fit under this hat. And Mickey Thompson come in the shop, we all went to lunch, and I'm telling Mickey how bad I'm gonna beat him next race. And Strop's sitting there looking at me, and he's not saying anything. Well, to make a long story short, I didn't beat him, but he didn't win, but I didn't either. And Strop called me in his office and said, Walker, you're a pretty good driver. You're really a pretty good driver. Why don't you do me a favor and yourself a favor, and don't tell anybody what you're gonna do, just go prove it. That's very good information. I quit telling everybody what I was gonna do to them. I just get in the truck every morning of the race and go show them. It wasn't very long after that the telephone rang here in Riverside from Long Beach, California, and it was Bill Strop. He said, Mickey Thompson and I just got in a dispute, and he's not gonna be driving my truck anymore. I wanna know if you'd like to drive it. Oh my land, there's music to my ears. I mean, after all, I get to drive a Ford-sponsored Bill Strop prepared truck. I don't have to work on it anymore like I worked on that truck every night, drove down to Long Beach and worked on it. Maintained it myself. Now I got a free ride. I said, Bill, what should I do with my truck? He said, sell it, you're not gonna need it. Well, before I could get anything written up and put an ad in either Dusty Times or any kind of off-road magazine, the phone rang. James Gardner on the other end of the phone. Walker, I understand you got a Ford pickup truck for sale. Yes, I do. How much do you want for it? Oh, I paid this amount. I'm thinking in my mind, I paid Strop to do this. And oh, I'll take about $3,800, $4,000 for it. He said, sold. He said, I want that truck. And he said, I'm not doing any movies or anything right now in the movie industry, and I get to go drive it, because every time he's doing a movie, they got things in his contract where he can't be endangering his life going to Baja, running a race or anything. So he sent me a check for, I think it was $4,000 for that truck. He entered that truck in the next race. Now I'm driving for Bill Strop in his truck, prepared truck. Yes, I won, I beat him. And he went again. Pea Soup Anderson halfway up California, famous restaurant, was James Gardner's sponsor, and it was written all over that truck, Pea Soup Anderson. Well, make a long story short, I turned 50 years old. My wife found this truck after they were done with it in a barn and bought it from them. When I say them, it was friends of James Gardner, and she bought that truck and brought it back to Riverside. And at my 50th party, they had it redone, and it was sitting right in front of the restaurant. Unbelievable.